Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you for using my creator code whenever you purchase any Sims 4 DLC on the EA app or thesims.com. I receive a 5% commission each time you use my code, which means you're directly supporting me as a creator. I know there are a lot of codes floating around out there, so I am very grateful that you've chosen me to support in this way. Thank you so much. Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And today we are actually building, I think I might call this like a small generations family home, because the house itself is pretty small, but it is for 3 generations of Sims. And I'm really excited about this one. It is based off of an image on Pinterest, which I will put on screen for you now. I think it's technically a home in Boston, Massachusetts, which I have mentioned I am a New England gal born and raised, and Boston is probably the closest city to me. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it could be. I don't get there as often as I would like to. I really like Boston. I don't even go once a year. Like, I'm clearly not that close. But anyway, I really liked this house and I wanted to try to build it because of its simplicity. It's literally just a square. That is it. That is all there is to it. And I wanted to challenge myself, and I was like, okay, can I take this square and can I make it look appealing in The Sims 4? And I feel like I did. You can all correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it ended up being a pretty cute house, honestly. I didn't add a ton of different like bump outs or anything like that. I added this little like side entrance, I guess we'll call it, that goes into the dining room. And there is a little back patio as well, but that's pretty much it. Like, everything else was all my brain. I mean, more often than not, floor plans and whatnot are just coming straight from my brain, but I use a lot of inspiration pictures on Pinterest, as I frequently mention. And this one was just super fun because it was so simple. And I really just wanted to see if I could make it look appealing in the game, like I mentioned. So as you can see, the shape has came together really, really fast. And I was just trying to see how I wanted to decorate the outside. And at this point, I didn't really know what family I wanted to live in this home. I was just trying to get back into building family homes, because at the time of me recording this, I should probably mention this as well. I either do it like within 5 seconds of a video, or I completely forget until I'm like a couple minutes in. But this is a pre-recorded video because if you're watching it, it means that I am currently on maternity leave, which means that I have had my baby and I have decided to take some time away from YouTube and everything else to get to know them a little bit better and adjust to first-time parenthood, because I'm sure it's going to be a whirlwind of ups and downs and everything else. But yes, this is pre-recorded, and at the time of me recording this, like when I was actually building this house, I didn't know what family dynamic I wanted, and I hadn't been doing a lot of family homes. I've been doing a ton of apartments recently, and I had been building for the Not So Berry Challenge. It's very difficult to talk about the past as if it's not the present. By the way, I say this a lot in voiceovers for these pre-recorded builds. It's very difficult to pre-record in this way, but I'm trying. Anyway, and I wanted to get back into building some family homes, kind of get back to, I don't know, I guess we can call it just my kind of normal style of building. That's not really fair to say, but I asked my dear friend Rach, and I was like, hey Rachel, what kind of like family dynamic should I build for this particular home? Like, who should live here? And she had said maybe it is a Sim who decided to move back with their parents now that they have become a single parent. They just need a little bit of help. And I loved that idea. I have done a couple of builds, I'll say in the past few months, that kind of follow that same dynamic, but I just really like it. And there's so much flexibility with it as well. So this is a 3-bedroom home, and I want to say it's a 2-bathroom as well, which surprised me because it is so small. Honestly, it's such a small house that I really wasn't sure if I was going to be able to fit that many rooms or even that many Sims. But that means that there is a bedroom for the grandparents, a bedroom for the parent, and then there's also a separate bedroom for I envisioned an infant that they had. So literally they're a single parent. Maybe they just had their infant and they just need some help to get back on their feet now that they've had this little one. I'm not sure if the other parent is in the picture or not, or if perhaps they took the route of having a science baby, and why they're kind of back with their parents. Maybe they're back with their parents for just like the first couple of months because they realized that single parenthood could be very, very overwhelming. I feel like it could be overwhelming for anybody, but especially our single parents out there. Y'all are rock stars, like actual superheroes. I don't understand it. Like I'm anticipating, obviously, having my little one at the time of me recording this very, very soon, and getting through pregnancy and pending childbirth and like raising a child without my husband sounds extremely daunting. I could do it, you know. People can do it, you can, but yeah, single parenthood is not for the weak, and parenthood in general is not for the weak. So yeah, maybe they just realized that they need a little bit of extra help. And so their parents invited them and their brand new grandchild to come stay with them for maybe like 3 to 6 months or something like that. They were so excited for this transition as well. They were like, we cleared out the guest bedroom. Maybe they had an office and they were like, we cleared that out too. So like the baby can have their own room, and maybe like their child's old bedroom or something like that has just been turned into a guest room. So they're just like, take the guest room, make it your own again, right? And then we cleared out like the office for the baby and everything. Like they're really excited to actually have not only their child, but now their grandchild under their roof again. So I really liked that idea. It seemed less, let's go with kind of like less tragic than some of maybe the other storylines I've done with like an adult who just had a child or who has children moving back in with their parents or something like that. I think the last time I did something like that where there was a grandparent living with their child and grandchild was actually that one of the other grandparents had passed, and therefore they were a little bit alone, and their child was like, live with us so we can all kind of be together. I can keep an eye on you, make sure you're okay. The grandkids can spend time with you and stuff like that. Like I always like taking maybe unfortunate circumstances like that and turning it into an opportunity for families to come together again, even in The Sims. Like that is my goal. But yeah, the first room that we're working on, as you can see, is the living room. It's a little bit cramped, but I thought that would be perfect for this particular storyline that I was thinking of and The Sims I was thinking of. I don't think the house is necessarily that old. Like the exterior doesn't say this is an older house, but I guess it probably could be, and the interior definitely looks a bit aged. There are certain aspects of the decorations that I add that are a little bit more updated, but I think this felt like a house where there are a couple of elder Sims as well, which I really enjoyed. Like I put the little baby portrait on the fireplace thinking that was the grandchild. I thought that was so cute. And then there were like knitting and cross-stitching things all over the place because I think stereotypically, one of the grandparents is very much into crafts like that. Like the second they found out they were having a grandchild, they made little onesies and hats and socks and everything like that. They dug out their child's old clothes that they had actually made for them way back in the day. They're just really, really excited to finally be a grandparent, and they've gotten to work on making new clothes and items and stuff like that for that grandchild. And after the living room, we do move on to the dining room because I just wasn't sure how I wanted to lay out the kitchen. And I wanted to make sure that I could fit a full dining table and whatnot in this space, knowing that there was the French doors that led to the little side porch as well. So laying this room out was a little bit difficult. I was also trying to not in every single room, but I tried to add different variations of this particular base game wallpaper to most of these rooms. But I think I end up changing it back to kind of like the light brown swatch that's in the living room, because that's also what I put in the entryway. I don't know. It's tough for me to play with color sometimes. Sometimes it's perfect, but then other times I just get like really hesitant about it. I don't know. It's odd. I also added this armchair from Cottage Living because I thought it was just kind of a nice touch. It looks like an older armchair. It's definitely one of the grandparents' favorite armchairs, and perhaps it used to be in the living room with maybe an older living room set, but they got a new modern-ish, more contemporary set that they have now, and they just kept that armchair because they loved it. This is going to be the downstairs bathroom as well. It is a little bit aged, but I think it's really cute. Like the old linoleum, the kind of just like, I don't want to call it a drab tile. It's probably one of my favorite tiles, honestly, but they do have a bit of an updated shower tub combo. Like they don't have the clawfoot one anymore. Maybe they did some small upgrades to the bathroom as well over time. Like that's what I was trying to show, is that some elements of this home are still older and maybe original to when that adult sim was a child being raised here, and now they get to come back here with their child. And there's some more modern components to it that have been upgraded over the years. Like the kitchen, they haven't touched the linoleum tile, but maybe they got like new appliances, you know, like that kind of stuff. Though I did use this fridge from the Country Kitchen kit that I would say probably looks a little bit older, but perhaps they got like a newer stove and oven here. You know, just little things like that. I also added the toddler potty in the bathroom just in anticipation of the infant eventually becoming a toddler. I've been doing that a lot more in builds lately. Like even if I imagine an infant being in the home, I do add the toddler potties because I always forget once the infants age up to add toddler potties until it's urgent. Until it's urgent and I'm like taking care of the toddler and I'm like, oh no, they have to go to the bathroom. I didn't add a toddler potty. Anyway, I tried to make a fake or faux little island here with maybe just this table. I think this is from Laundry Day. I can't remember. I don't remember anymore, but it's one of my favorite side tables. It's just very rustic and kind of DIY though. So I was thinking that one of the grandparents probably made it back in the day and it's been their island for a very long time. But again, thinking about some of the upgrades that they made, I think they ditched it. Maybe they got like a new kitchen counter set like put in. Like these aren't the original kitchen counters. And they ditched that little faux island and they added just a little informal breakfast table instead. It looked a little bit odd to me from the dining room looking into the kitchen, and there were just like two separate dining spaces, but I've done that plenty of times before and not questioned it. So I decided to just let that fixation go and just be like, yeah, it looks fine. I also added that retro phone because I don't know about you, but my mom still has a landline phone. It doesn't look like that. It's not a rotary phone, but she still has a landline phone. And I just feel as though that might be more common for the older generations. I don't know. Not everybody, of course, but it's definitely something that I'm used to. We have had the same home phone number since as long as I can remember. And we have had a home phone for as long as I can remember. So I figured I'd add that here. This is the little breakfast table that I mentioned earlier. I do use this table from Cottage Living paired with these chairs from Cats and Dogs, though I might change the swatch of the table just to change the tablecloth. I thought this one was super cute. I love the swatches with like the little bunnies and mushrooms and stuff, little woodland themed, but I might change it to something more neutral just because I felt like the linoleum pattern, the tile on the wall, and then the pattern of the tablecloth, like everything was just a little bit too much for me. It was a little bit too like clashing and overwhelming. But then we move on to the entryway, which I very, very quickly decorate. I add the burglar alarm, of course. I've got this little coat rack here on the wall, and then there's just a bench and a little welcome mat. There might even be some artwork that I put up here on the stairs, like a little gallery wall of maybe family members and family portraits and stuff, which I thought was cute. And then move on to the second floor, which is where all of the bedrooms are, as well as the additional bathroom. And surprisingly, the bedrooms were all a decent size, though I think the adult's bedroom is probably the smallest one, because again, I was thinking along the lines of that used to be their childhood room, so it didn't have to be that big, and it just never had a double bed in it. There was always just a single bed. But now, of course, that they're back as an adult, they decided to get a double bed, or again, it was turned into a guest room. So perhaps they put a double bed in there thinking that if they did ever have anybody over, that would be sufficient. They wouldn't be spending too much time in the room per se, so they could kind of cram that double bed against the wall. You'll see it when we get to that point, because right now we're decorating the grandparents' room. Very plainly decorated, but I loved using this bed from Cats and Dogs. I felt like I haven't used it in so long, as well as this more like vintage looking vanity. I don't use this item enough. There was a time where I was using it all of the time, and I haven't used it very recently. So I was excited to use that here because I think one of the grandparents definitely likes getting dolled up. Not like all the time. They're not like vapid or superficial or anything like that. I think they just love caring for their appearance, and there is nothing wrong with that. So I did add this little like palette of jewelry from the Crystal Creations kit, little like makeup box, and some perfumes and stuff like that. Then I have this skinny little wardrobe from Horse Ranch because I didn't have that much space to play around with. I had an ottoman and then just a couple of picture frames on the wall. And then this is going to be the guest bedroom turned well, I was going to say child's room, but you know what I mean, the adult's room. And I went with this nice soft blue theme. I used this bed from Horse Ranch. I added a couple of, what are those called? Curtains. They're called curtains, April. I added a couple of curtains here from high school years as well, thinking that even though they made it into a guest room, maybe they kept those curtains from when their child was a teen. You know what I mean? Like they kept some things from their original room, but got rid of others. Like maybe this dresser was also theirs when they were a teen, they lived there, but they added like the standing mirror and they added the old television in there. It's very plainly decorated because I think that they literally just moved back in. So same with the nursery, like the basics are there, the essentials are there, and there's some level of decoration, but it's not over the top personalized, because I don't think that they've fully moved in yet, or if they have, they just really haven't settled in yet. But I actually kind of like the idea that the grandparents have just gotten everything prepared for their pending move. Like maybe their child is still in the hospital from having the baby, and literally when they get discharged, they're just going to come straight to their home. That's kind of a nice idea. That would be a nice idea. And that way, like the rooms are all set up for them. Everything is good to go. And I feel like maybe even one of the grandparents made this crib especially for their grandchild, and perhaps that was like their child's rocking chair from their old nursery and like their old toy box and stuff. This house just gave me the warm and fuzzies, to be completely frank, because it just felt so loving and homey, and it had a lot of personality despite my feeling as though I was struggling with bringing personality into this build. Like looking back on it, I'm like, no, this actually has a lot, and I really like it. But this is going to be the other bathroom upstairs, like I mentioned. It's a very long bathroom. Everything's kind of on one wall, which I don't really like doing, but I think with the window placement, it just worked out. It just worked out that way, and I didn't really mind it. And then in these little hallways, I don't add much. I think I put like a console table with a lamp and a piece of artwork, and there might be just like an armchair with a little side table and a lamp. Just small decorative items to not leave it completely empty, but it was kind of a weird twisty hallway, so I didn't want to add too much. Like no true activities up in these hallways or anything like that, just some decorations. The only thing is that I think those shelves, I think when I play tested it actually, because I put those shelves back above the staircase, they did block my Sim's ability to go up and down the stairs, which is super disappointing. So I just added a piece of artwork instead, and now we're working on the backyard, which, can I just say, it actually felt somewhat unique for me. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't, but I really struggle with sectioning off backyards, especially backyards that are this big. I may have gone overboard with the hedges now that I'm looking at it, but that's fine. It is fine. But I wanted to create a section that actually had like stone flooring and whatnot. And then I wanted a little grass area. And I also added a shed, which I don't think I've done in some time. So it's a little like gardening shed. I think the flower arranging table that I currently have on the porch, I think I added inside of this shed, so it's a little bit more protected and it opens up the back porch a little bit more for other activities. Like I think I add a grill and maybe a chess table or a card table. I can't really remember which, but I add something like that. Then there's some like gardening pots, and I added a chicken coop over in this corner, which I thought was super fun. I imagine the grandparents being so excited for when their grandchild's old enough that they can like teach them how to take care of the chickens and things. Again, they're only going to be living there maybe for like 3 to 6 months or something like that, just the beginning of their life to help out the parent that just had them and everything. But still, they're just like, they're planning for their life now with a grandchild, and it's like they get to do all of those fun things that they did with their child when they were younger all over again, and they're just super excited about it. So yeah, they've got a little chicken coop, they have a little gardening shed here, which is functional. Like I said, I do add the flower arranging table in here, but I think that's pretty much the only activity in the shed. But there's plenty of things you could add depending on whatever Sims you envisioned living in this house, like maybe a woodworking table or like the candle making station or something. Oh wait, I do add the like recycler thing from Eco Lifestyle in here. I don't know, I don't add that to a lot of builds. I also added the bird feeder, which I never had to build, so I thought that was something nice to add. And then we've got some bee boxes as well. I just wanted there to be tons of activities for these elder Sims that I envisioned, for them to enjoy as well, you know, because this is now this is now where they've retired. You know, they've had this house, they raised their child, and now they just have all the time in the world to indulge in activities that they enjoy indulging in. And I also add an outside dining table here, this big one from the backyard stuff pack, I think it is. Yeah, it's the backyard stuff pack. And then I also add a swing set, because again, maybe that was their child's when they were younger, and they just never got rid of it because they were anticipating having their grandchildren over and things like that. But that's pretty much it for this build. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Heard you want to leave this place where we grew up. This old town, just put it all behind. Remember you and I would always find somewhere to hide when we were kids, so we could see and hear the water run. The river's gonna cry when you're gone. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're. River's gonna cry when you're. River's gonna cry when you're gone. Hoping you would stay, but I've